family. This is your home. Hey, Living Truth family. This is your holistic home girl, Nafaya, coming to you today with a special guest. We are going to have a ball today. I have health and nutrition coach, personal trainer. Her name is Carmel, hailing from New York of CFit Coaching. And without further ado, I am going to bring her to the stage and we are going to have such a wonderful time today. This is part 2 of our conversation together. Here we are. Here is Coach Carmel today. How are you, Carmel?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
I am well. Carmel, give us your full name. In my American accent, it is not going to come out as beautiful as you say it.
My name is Carmel Jean-François.
Isn't that just beautiful, y'all? Just as beautiful as she is. I love the pronunciation of your name and it just fits you. It's just as beautiful as you are. How's it going?
It's going well. Life is good right now. I'm coming into my own with this whole plant-based thing, Nafaya, and it's just exciting things continue to happen. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, you all, I'm going to give you a little bit of background how Carmel and I know one another. We are both in a plant-based nutrition certification program. We've both completed that program, and that program prepared us to coach you all and also prepares us to grow and develop our businesses. And so that's how we will know one another. We are peers in the plant-based space, and we coming for y'all.
We're about to change some lives.
We are changing some lives. Carmel, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do at CFit Coaching.
Oh, okay. So just to clear things up, I'm still in the certification program. Okay. I'm at the tail end. I'm working on my signature program. So I'm excited to figure that out. Yes. So meanwhile, in CFit Coaching, I've been working with individuals. Actually, I've been working with groups of communities. I run 6-week cohorts, 6-week programs. So 6 weeks at a time, I'm giving them basic information, like an intro to the plant-based space.
Okay.
Because it's a lot, going plant-based and adhering to this new lifestyle and this new way of eating. It's a lot. So I do the 6-week program to give folks a basic understanding, a basic idea and concept about what this lifestyle has to offer them. Yeah. And pretty much that's what I do. And I'm very, very big into fitness, just as you are, Nafaya. And so I always emphasize an element of fitness in there. Like that's a non-negotiable. Like, yeah, we're gonna watch what we eat, and we're also gonna do those squats.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You are a certified personal trainer.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
So I've been doing that. Maybe on and off for about 15 years.
Wow. So you are serious about this. This is
it's interesting, Nafaya, because when I first started in this space, I knew nothing about nutrition. I was a girl who liked to pick up dumbbells. Okay. So I was just kind of like, let me train people, let me make people stronger, go lift heavy. That's where I was. And during the pandemic, I really birthed CFit Coaching, but I was still very, very much into the fitness aspect of it. And my nutrition, I was not whole food plant-based at the time.
Okay.
And my nutrition was really poor. And I cringed at the thought of how I used to guide my clients back then, but I was more into fitness. I was like, yeah, fitness. Hey, let's have some protein bars. And we all know protein bars are just candy bars with a little bit of extra protein in it, right? But, and then I became whole food plant-based a year later, and everything changed.
That's awesome. I think that being whole food plant-based, and we are biased, I think it's a game changer, period.
I agree.
we are biased. Prior to me being whole food plant based, I did work out. I was in the gym, and like you, it was the protein bars, the protein powders. Eat as much chicken and steak as you possibly could, to build your muscle. And what you and I know, and those who are a part of our ecosystem, is that we don't need the extra stuff. We don't need the extra sugar. We don't need the powders, the potions, and poisons, if you will.
Seriously,
If
that's
you
exactly
will.
what it is. That's exactly what it is.
That is exactly what it is. And I am so glad to have you here today. I just want to back up a little bit. So you all, if you saw last week, this is part two. Carmel interviewed me, and so now she's on the hot seat, if you will. Carmel, here at Living Truth, we teach people through our signature program, Harvest, to live an intentional life of vitality through nutrition. When I first started this program, I was like, food is the foundation, food is the foundation, food is the foundation. I have since, as I have gone and gone through my program with some people and done it myself, I'm like, food is a building block.
Yeah.
So I believe now, and I want your feedback on this. Mindset is the foundation. When we talk about living an intentional life of vitality through nutrition and being physically fit and living the best possible life that we can, we want to do that holistically.
Yeah.
And so we have to have, the first thing I believe has to be in place is a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Then food, like I said, is the building block in there. And then we are nurturing our bodies, our soul. We're looking at our environment and the community that we're around. And when we say nutrition, we mean nourishment, how we're nourishing all of those pieces. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you 100%. The mindset piece, and I was even taking it to a different direction. You said the mindset and building what's around you, right? And I always tell people, one of the first things I tell people, in order to do anything, be it exercise and nutrition, or be it any new endeavor or project, you have to have the people around you to support you. We can, even the barista that makes our coffee is being supportive in doing that, right? So we have to really put in place who our cheerleaders are, and even our naysayers, right? Because some of us have this, like, you said no, watch me, right? Some of us have that type of attitude. But it's important that we surround ourselves with the people who are really going to support us through our support system, our tribe, our cheerleaders. All of them have to be in place. That's one of the things. But the mindset piece, in knowing what I'm doing, is what I know to be my truth, right? And adhering to that integrity piece, where we pretty much tell everybody around us, yeah, I got you. You want me to pick Susie up from school? You want me to help you, clean up the house? You need somebody to paint your room? Or we're meeting on Friday at such and such time for whatever. And we're people of integrity. We keep those appointments. Yet when it comes to making an appointment with ourselves, for us to exercise, or for us to spend a little extra time in the kitchen to do what we say that we were going to do, we tend to fall back and be like, you know what, I don't have time for that. So I'm going to grab the quickest and nearest thing. That's a mindset piece as well. But I feel like the most important piece when it comes to changing your life in this aspect, from eating meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood, to now we're just consuming plants. That's a big shift, especially when the world is not there with us as yet. Every time we look around, we see meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood plastered on billboards. We see the TV commercials. Everybody's thinking about, oh yeah, lunch, what's my protein? And then they build their plates from that, based on that, whatever protein is on their plate. That's so easy to kind of like fall back from if we don't have that mindset piece there, right? So it's easy to be like, oh my God, I didn't cook my own dinner last night. And now the office is ordering out and they don't have any vegan options or plant-based options on the menu. I'm just going to go and have a salmon, right? Or people saying, you're doing what? Plant-based? You're not going to get enough protein. You know what? You're right. So you know what? I'll just, that piece there too. So I think that mindset piece kind of seeps and weaves itself into every aspect of all the decisions that we make with regards to our fitness and nutrition goals. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
That's true. And while we're on mindset, as you transitioned to whole food plant based, what was one of the biggest limiting beliefs that you had to overcome?
The protein, the protein. So when you change your diet so drastically, and I did it overnight, Nafaya, there was no transition period for me. I literally decided, let me see what this vegan thing is about. At the time, I didn't know the difference between vegan and plant-based. And
Okay.
for me, vegan meant vegetables. So all I did was fruits and vegetables. I did plants because I didn't know any better. And I did it overnight just to kind of see what is the big hoop? Like what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And I found that it was quite easy. And so as I went along, um, through my transition, through me kind of settling myself into the plant-based kind of way of eating, I lost a lot of weight. And that makes sense because I neglected a whole food group. I was eating meat, protein one day, and dairy and things of that nature, and extra sugar. And the next few weeks I wasn't. So I lost a lot of weight. And so in my mind, I settled in with the fact, oh well, I'm not taking any protein these days. So I guess I'm just not going to retain as much muscle as I once then did. I guess I'm just going to stay. Like I felt like I just kind of like nestled into the idea that I can no longer build muscle because now I'm plant-based and plants don't have protein.
Well, we know that is not the truth at all.
At all. I've learned so much since then.
Not at all. And I want to speak to what was happening with you, just for the listeners out there. You went plant based and you started to lose a lot of weight. I went plant based and I started to gain weight. And the reason for that, we kind of hit on this last week when we were talking. The reason for that, I was vegan and not whole food plant based. So I was not eating whole foods that would allow me to lose that weight. Although I was working out and running and all of that, I was still eating an increased amount of calories through sweets.
Yeah.
And many of our sweets that are consumed in the US are crazy high calorie. And I don't care if you don't eat any meat, any dairy, which I did not, no eggs, no dairy, no meat, but I still early on maintain the level of sugar and maybe even a higher amount of sugar than I
Right.
had eaten previously, because like you, I didn't know what to eat. I just knew I wasn't eating meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood. And it was a trial and error period for me. I'm not like you. I didn't go, it wasn't overnight for me. I'm like, I'm not going to eat any meat, eggs, dairy, or seafood. But then I traveled the world when I started. And so I would go to some very remote places that all they had was maybe a McDonald's or a KFC. And I'm not even kidding. I've been to some very remote places in the world where it's one or two restaurants, or it's a mom and pop restaurant. And so you have to eat what they have. They don't even know the word vegan. And
Right.
so I would tell people I was a con vegan early on. So when it was convenient for me to eat vegan, I would,
Funny.
if I was like you said, oh, the office party, if there was fish, I'll have the fish, or I'll have the, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
I coined myself a con vegan. So if it was convenient, I was vegan early on. But I hurried up and got that right because I wasn't healing. And we talked about some sicknesses, and we'll get to that. So you turned 50 this year, correct?
I did. I did.
All right. Well, congratulations. You don't look like it. You look fabulous. And you Also, right? You also competed in a figure or bodybuilding. Which category?
It's a bodybuilding competition,
Okay.
and what I competed in was the bikini
The
competition.
bikini competition. And was that something that was on your bucket list? Tell us about the process of that.
Yeah, so it was kind of. I think so about almost 10 years ago I did one, and I did
Okay.
one just because I wanted to. And ever since then I wanted to do another one, but life got in the way. I wanted things it just didn't happen. And then but it's always been in the back of my mind. And then I think maybe 2 years ago, I was thinking, how amazing would it be if I crossed the stage in a bikini for my 50th, like in my
Right.
50th year. And that's exactly what I did. So last year, I kind of got all my ducks in a row. I got my mindset all together. I
Mhm.
made a decision.
Mhm.
I said, when I turn 50, I'm crossing the stage. And in July, I turned 50 and I wanted to compete in July, but between my birthday and other things that I do on a yearly basis, it just wasn't going to happen. So I ended up pushing it to November. So
Okay.
only not even 3 weeks ago, I crossed the stage. But it was an amazing feeling for
Uh,
me. For me, Nafaya, I did it. I did it for a few reasons. May I share?
Please.
So I did it for number one to show that women at any age can do whatever they set their minds to do.
Mhm.
Right? Um, Even though there are women like us who are kind of like, if my body is able, I am always willing. Right?
Mhm.
But then there are women out there also who feel like they've passed the stage, or, that's for young people.
Mhm.
And no, my body hurts. And it comes up with excuses or maybe really true reasons as to why they can't do things.
Right.
So I wanted to do this to show women that we can do whatever we want to do. And 50 or our age does not have to limit us to anything. So I want to throw on a bikini, I want to get some muscle, and I want to walk across that stage strutting my stuff as a 50-year-old woman.
And you did it. And we talked about some other pillars with living intentionally. One of them being community and your environment. And so I just want to give a shout out to Coach Leslie who helped you through this process. I
Yes,
understand. And then in the process, you placed in 4 different categories.
I did.
That's so amazing.
So
So amazing.
I entered 4 categories and I placed in all of them, and which surprised me because one of the categories was open. That means all the women who participated,
Mhm.
no matter what age. So I was competing against the 24-year-old and
Mhm.
the 60-year-old. And
See,
here I was, and I placed in that division. I placed in
awesome.
novice, I placed in women over 35, and I placed in women over 50. Those were the 4 divisions that I competed in. And so there you have it. I was just like, not only did I do this competition, but I didn't walk away with just one medal. I walked away with
With
4 medals
4.
in all 4 of my divisions that I entered. And so
That is absolutely amazing and so encouraging to anyone who will be listening that's between 45 and 50 or even older. I
and
haven't
even
hit the big
younger.
50 yet, but I'm very, very close. I'm very close to
How
it.
close are you, Nafaya?
I'll be 49 next year.
Oh,
Yep,
okay. So
yep,
yeah,
yep,
you're
yep.
right behind
I'm
me,
very, I'm
girl.
very close. I'm very close to it, and still, I would say now within the last 5 years, and I have always been athletic and into sports, but within the last 5 to 6 years, Carmel, I will have to tell you that I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm the
Mm,
fastest. I'm the strongest. I have the
mm,
most energy. And something that we don't talk about enough, I was pushed into menopause early due
okay.
to a procedure. But right now, I know a lot of women who are suffering, not just
Mhm,
experiencing
mhm,
menopause and perimenopausal symptoms and things like that. And they don't realize that they can go through that experience and they don't have to suffer through the experience. You can go through the natural experience without suffering.
yeah.
And I'm here to attest that you can do that through eating well, moving your body, ensuring that, again, you have the right you're in the right environment,
Hmm.
in the right mindset. And I don't believe that. I believe I would be suffering if I was not a whole food plant based uh, lifestyle individual.
Right. So same, because right now I'm in perimenopause, right? And I feel the shifts. And in fact, and even in training for the competition, I was just like, why is my belly holding on to this bloat?
Mhm.
So there were things that were happening in my body that I was not used to seeing. And Coach Leslie worked me through it. I was just like, I don't know why I'm still bloated. I'm eating the plants. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm consuming the protein. I was eating lots of protein. I'm 3 years into being whole food plant
Mhm.
based, but when I started this, I was already 2 years in. I'm like, my body's used to the food. I
Mhm.
did it all naturally. And I was just like, what's going on? So even those, and my sleep was disrupted. And I'm like, what's happening? Like people used to say, you know what? I'm an insomniac. I couldn't sleep. And I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't relate because my sleep never suffered. Now it's been changing
Mhm.
and different changes in my body. So I'm perimenopausal. And that was another reason why I wanted to do this competition. I
Mhm.
wanted to show the world that perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal, again, we can do this. And
Mhm.
we can not necessarily ignore symptoms because that's not what I'm trying to do, but
Right.
really address them, really recognize them, acknowledge them, and kind of bless them. I'm privileged to be this age. I'm privileged to have survived COVID and
Mhm.
thrive. I'm
Mhm.
I am privileged to be here, to be able to move and do the things that I do and make the choices when it comes to what's at the end of my fork that will support my movement and my decisions to cross that stage in a bikini.
You see, and for all of you who are listening, when she said what's at the end of her fork, she meant what she's putting in her mouth, what she's picking up off her plate and putting in her mouth. That makes a huge difference in what you are going through. So if you are eating foods that are heavy laden in oil, salts, sugars, if you are in this stage of perimenopause, going through menopause, it is going to cause you to suffer. Your symptoms are going to be much, much worse.
Yes.
Transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet makes all of the world of difference, along with moving your body. You can't
Yes.
just you can't just eat the plant. You got to move your body as well. And
Yes.
that combination is better than I this is Nafaya's opinion. This is not research, but this is Nafaya's opinion and what I've experienced. That's better than any medication I could have ever been prescribed or prescribed to anybody else.
You know what, Nafaya? But there are studies out there, and what you just said is a true testament to what a lot of people are even acknowledging. Because let's break down plant-based and vegan, right? Plant-based is incorporating whole plant foods onto your plate, as opposed to vegan, which can be, and not always, because when I went vegan, I just knew that I'm vegan, but I was plant-based. I just didn't know the difference. But vegan tend to be those who are maybe a little bit more concerned about the environment and animals and animal rights and things of that nature. So they most likely consume the ultra processed foods.
Right.
However, plant-based and having some meat on your plate every once in a while, somebody can still get away with saying, yes, I'm plant-based. It's just that every so often I throw a meat product onto my plate, whatever, valid. I'm okay with that. But more and more research is showing that menopause symptoms are alleviated by including whole foods into your regimen.
And
And,
that is
and
true.
and
That
that's all across the board, right?
yeah.
That's any diet you look at, or any
Mhm.
kind of diet way of eating or diet lifestyle, be it paleo or omnivore or whatever. If you put more plants on your plate, menopause symptoms can be greatly alleviated.
Yeah.
We just have we just have it all because we're completely plant-based. We know how to feed ourselves in that respect, and we know how to include the necessary protein into our diet. And because we're plant-based, by default, we're consuming all the fiber that we need to. Nobody even talks about, are we getting enough fiber, when we know America is deficient in fiber, generally
Severely,
speaking,
severely,
severely.
severely.
Yeah. So those aspects, nobody can argue that broccoli and kale will not serve us. Like,
Right. And talking about fiber, I actually was just having this conversation today with my daughter, and I tell people every chance I get, I am a healthcare professional. You all know that. So nothing is off the table with me. And I'm reminding people constantly that having a bowel movement once a week is not normal.
no,
That is not normal. That tells you, if you're that individual who's having one bowel movement once a week, if that, you are not getting enough fire, your diet is way off. Your nutrition is way off. You
and you're
need
probably very dehydrated.
very I was just about to lift up my water bottle. You need to drink some water. some water too. You need to drink some water too. So that's my soapbox. Let me continue here. So do you work with men and women as clients, or just women?
So I do work with mostly women,
Okay.
I would say 99% women.
Okay.
At first, when before I even really was doing the whole food plant-based coaching, I would say I was always saying I work with women over 40, work with women over 40, work with women over 40. But that was I felt like that was redundant because I'm a woman over 40. I tend to attract women over 40. So I was
Mhm.
just like, I'm leaving that part out. It's just a mouthful. So now I work with those who have come to find out that they might be suffering from a food or sugar addiction. And the reason why I word it that way is because there was a time when I didn't realize that I was addicted to food and sugar. I didn't even realize it.
Mhm.
And when I realized it, I was just like, "Mm, all right, I'm addicted to sugar. I like the stuff." And Nafaya, I pretty much look like this.
Mhm.
I was just my eating was terrible. I told you I was like consuming protein bars and protein powders. And I was and lots of chicken. And we know chicken is people seem to think that chicken is better than beef, but not particularly.
Mm-mm.
But that's a different episode. That's a different conversation. Um, so I was consuming all of those things, and I came up not only pre-diabetic, Nafaya, came up pre-diabetic with fatty liver disease and high cholesterol. 3 diagnoses at one time. And again, I look like this.
Mhm.
So that kind of like, it surprised me and it didn't surprise me because I kind of already had an idea that I was addicted to the sugar.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, all right, something's got to change. And just about that time was when I became whole food plant based. And not for that reason, but I have a feeling it was God that nudged me in that direction. And I didn't even realize it that's what was happening because the two just kind of happened at the same time, the diagnosis and me turning whole food plant based overnight. I
Okay.
just made the decision. I think God just like, and just kind of blessed me with that thought. And I was just like, hey, let me just do this. And I was going to do it just for a week and document it and report it on my blog. And after a week, I was like, I feel great. Okay, let's just do it for a second week. And I said, let me finish the month out. And then I stopped making any type of claims because I was like, no, I think this is a good place for me. And then the more I went down that rabbit hole and started educating myself on meat and how that behaves in my body, on sugar and how that behaves in my body, and plants and how that behaves on my body,
Mhm.
and how that manifests. And in 3 days in the fire, I was like, wait, I haven't had a piece of chocolate in 3 days. Not the norm for me. I was a sugar addict. So I had sugar in my car, candies. I had candies at my desk. I had candies in the cabin. I had candies in my bedroom, like every place. So I kind of digress. To answer your question, I do work with men. The last gentleman that I worked with earlier this year, he saw my YouTube video and he contacted me in an email. He says, listen, I find myself in a place where I'm pre-diabetic and I don't want to be diabetic. And he was a high pre-diabetic. He was on the cusp of being diagnosed full-blown diabetic. And he says, I saw one of your videos and you said that you reversed your condition, correct? And I was like, yeah. He says, well, I understand if you just work with women. If you just work with women and you can't take me on as a client, do you have any resources for me? I was like, no, 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 I got you. I worked with him for 12 weeks. And in 12 weeks, he got his A1C, HbA1c level from a 6.1 down to a 5.7,
That's awesome.
5.8, because 5.7 is just just normal. He was a 5.8. And he was like, oh, I was going for that 5.7. I'm like, you did the darn thing. Just keep going. And he was just like, but Carmel, I came to you for this HbA1c level number. I didn't realize I was going to lose 20 pounds. I didn't realize I was going to sleep better. I didn't realize my sleep apnea was going to go away. I didn't realize that my joints were going to feel better. I didn't realize I was going to be able to run again and do push-ups. He listed, He listed all the things he could do because he went whole food, plant-based, free of salt, oil, and sugar.
That is so awesome. And you answered my next question I was going to ask. So that's so amazing. But it that is my story. You know, I was pre-diabetic. I was literally 1 point from being type 2 diabetes, overweight, high cholesterol, all of that, and changing my nutrition and how I looked at food reversed all of that, putting me in the best shape of my life where not, you know, I'm able to run. I didn't say last week when we were talking that I was also an asthmatic. And I always tell this story now. Coach Kiwi, if you're familiar with her, everybody pretty much knows Coach Kiwi, who was my fitness coach at one time.
Oh, nice.
I think I worked with Coach Kiwi for like 2 years. We climbed up Stone Mountain. One of our things, we climbed up Stone Mountain in Georgia. I had, prior to that, I had not run, had not done anything without my inhaler because I was just, you know, needed my inhaler. I was so inflamed, and people don't know when you're eating sugar, when you're eating all of the processed food, your body, your whole entire body is inflamed, including your lungs. Yes. And so when you're asthmatic or dealing with any type of respiratory issues, that's something again that you can cure just cutting out sugar. You can decrease that inflammation. But I digress. So we climbed Stone Mountain, my daughter and my grandson. I want to say my grandson was 3 or 4 at the time. And I get up this mountain and the first thing I do is panic. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have an inhaler. I don't have my inhaler. And then I was like, I'm not wheezing. I can take a deep breath. I'm not even breathing hard. And from that point on, and I have not used the inhaler, not even through a hard workout, where when I started on my fitness journey, I had to have the inhaler before I started. I might have needed it halfway, and then again at the end. My chest didn't close up or anything. But at that point, I was probably like 3 years into my journey of whole food, plant-based eating, free, completely free of salt, oil, sugar, and you know, anything bad. And my body knew the difference immediately. And I couldn't believe it. So I always tell that story that I climbed up that mountain, and just my natural reaction from having to do it so long, I was like, where's my inhaler? And then I'm like, I'm not wheezing. I'm not even breathing hard.
Wow. And it was so natural for you. It was just kind of like, I feel great. And you didn't even realize it at first. I remember I remember hearing that story at some point. I was just like, look at God. That is amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So you transitioned pretty much overnight to whole food, plant-based. How did you revise your kitchen and your cabinets, your whole kitchen? That's a key piece, I believe, when you transition to this lifestyle. It's not just about the diet, fans. It's not about the diet. It's a whole lifestyle. Give us a few things you had to do in your kitchen to make sure that you were staying on track.
Well, I just didn't buy any. Well, thankfully, I was living by myself at the time. So I just didn't bring anything into the home that wasn't in alignment with what I decided to do.
Mhm.
So um I wasn't bringing home any meat, eggs, or dairy or seafood. But interestingly enough, the night I decided to become whole food plant-based, I was actually meal prepping for the week. It was a
Okay.
Sunday night. I was meal prepping. I had my shrimp and my chicken on the counter. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do whole food plant based. I had a little bit of spinach in the refrigerator. I maybe had a tomato, like
Mhm.
very minimal things. But I had a vegan protein powder. I don't know why I had a vegan protein powder. And again, all I knew was, all right, let me just blend this. So literally for the next month, all I did was blend and eat salads. At the time, I didn't really know about protein. So all I did was blend my vegetables and fruits and eat salads. Before long, the protein powder was gone, so I didn't even concern myself with the protein powder. I was just kind of like, just give me the vegetables. Um, but what I did notice, so that part wasn't hard for me. I feel
Okay.
like maybe if I was living with somebody who said, "Oh no, no, not me," it might have been a little bit
Okay.
tougher. But then again, I know myself. I'm constantly challenging myself. I'm constantly challenging myself. So I know that once I make a decision, I've made a decision.
Awesome.
So I think just not bringing the stuff into the house or into the apartment, that's really what did it. But I got to tell you that very week I decided to become whole food plant based. I decided to take my staff out to dinner, and where do I take them? To an Italian restaurant. And when I sat there, I said, Carmel, why would you do that? Italians are big on cheese. They're big on the pasta, which we know is loaded with sugar. I was just like, why did you do that? But something amazing, the fire happened that I felt like I'm going to be okay. I
Mhm.
spoke to the server and I said, listen, what are your vegan options? Again, I wasn't using the term plant based. And they said, well, we have this, we have XYZ. I'm like, okay, I'll settle. I'm easy. If all I was going to eat was plain pasta, so be it. I'm so easy. But guess what happened? The actual chef came out of the kitchen to
Mhm.
have a discussion with me
Mhm. Mhm.
about what my options were and how I would prefer it cooked. What? You mean I get VIP treatment? That's what comes along with this lifestyle?
Exactly.
I'll
Exactly.
take it. The Leo in me said, "Oh yes, oh yeah, I can deal with this."
Mhm.
So that really gave me encouragement to say they're not against you. In fact,
Mhm.
people, if I come at them in a very authentic way, hey, listen, this is my lifestyle. They will help me. And I've had that experience at several restaurants I've been to. But don't get me wrong, there have been restaurants where I sat there and had iceberg lettuce. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, a $15 iceberg salad. All right, well, so I've had the both. But back to my kitchen, I gotta tell you, um, I stopped buying the stuff, so nothing much more in my kitchen changed. I stopped cooking a lot because I was having fresh fruits and vegetables.
Mhm.
And another thing that happened when I did cook, and be it spinach or I sauteed, not excuse me, mushroom. Maybe I sauteed some vegetables like asparagus or things like that. The cleaning process was so easy. You
So
know,
easy.
when we cook meat, we get that grime and that greasiness and everything sits in that oil. I was Everything was just kind of like like a rinse pretty much. I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I can get down with this too." Cleaning up was easier. Cooking was easier. Everything was
Mhm.
just easier because it was one less thing that I had to think about. And I didn't have to think about meat and cleaning the meat and you know what we do when we get meat, we do everything we have to do so it doesn't smell like meat. We get
Right.
out the lemon and we squeeze it and we get out the vinegar and we put in all the herbs and spices. I am so sorry, so it doesn't smell like meat.
Right.
I didn't have to do any of that. Everything that I put on my food was for beautiful flavoring, and that was it.
That's amazing. So what you've just said and what I know for sure to be true is that as individuals who live this plant-based lifestyle, that there is inclusion, and there are some places where you have to demand inclusion. But
Yes,
if you go to a restaurant and you ask nicely, or you ask, hey, what are your vegan options or plant-based options, more than likely the chef is going to come out. A lot of times I just say to my waiter or waitress, tell chef I want a plant-based meal, no oil, no salt, and
Wow.
I always get something absolutely amazing. One time I did get like a cauliflower steak. It was very, very pretty, but it literally was just a slice of cauliflower with a bunch of colored puree on it. So it was good. It was good, but you have to be careful when you do that. And but there is inclusion, so don't be afraid if you're out there, you're trying a vegan lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle. Ask for what you want.
And
Don't
you know
just
what I really feel, Nafaya? I feel like, especially in nicer restaurants, the chefs, they're artists. They're
mm-hmm,
artists and they're very
mm-hmm,
passionate about their craft. So they want to make sure that everybody enjoys their food.
mm-hmm,
So many times when I've had that experience, they come out with something beautiful for me.
mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, here in New York, if you're ever here, let me know. We're going to go to this one spot that had this amazing cauliflower steak. I was like, let me see what the big deal is. I want that cauliflower steak. It came out incredible. I said, wow. All right, you guys got me.
Yeah, it was good, but it was good, but I don't, I was like, yeah, I need more. I eat a lot. And that's one thing about eating a plant-based diet. You can eat a lot. You don't have to limit what you're eating. You're not counting calories. You're not worried about putting on weight and all of that. You can eat as much as you want. And I eat a ton, and I'm sure you do as well, Carmel, being into fitness and running. And that being said, we are both runners.
Yes.
So that's another thing we have in common. Were you always a runner?
I've been a runner for the last 10 years.
Okay,
I
for
was
the
always
last.
a wannabe runner until I literally ran into a group of runners near my
Okay.
home. And I've been on their team here locally in Queens for almost 12 years, I want to say. And I've run 3 marathons,
Wow.
dozens and dozens and dozens, half marathons, and hundreds of races. Like I've run so much. Um, but yeah, that's a good. And so now I'm 3 years vegan, and like you said, I feel better. That recovery is incredible. The pep in my step, it's fantastic. So I
Yeah.
like being a vegan runner.
That's awesome. Now you did a run earlier this year, whether it's spring or early summer. Didn't
Yeah.
I see that you won an award for that as well?
I did. I won first place in my age group.
See, that's awesome. You are just showing up and showing out. Now, I'm
You
a runner. I run a bunch of organized races. I'm not running for any type of award at all. I just run. So I started off running back in high school and ran through high school, stopped running, couldn't run. When I moved to where I live now, I couldn't even run to the front of my to the front of my block, which is not even a quarter of a mile. Could not even make it past like 5 houses. That's how deconditioned,
yeah.
overweight, inflamed I was. And now I literally can wake up in the morning and run 5, 6 miles easy. Sometimes I have to stop myself. Like, oh, you don't need to run that long. Right now, let me preface that. I'm not running. I haven't run since last month. I hurt my ankle, so I'm not doing any running. And it's like I'm on edge, like,
Yeah.
oh, but I know I have to fully recover. I'm
Mhm.
walking better now. I'm walking without my crutches and without my brace.
Yay.
And I'm making myself sit down so that I can fully recover and get back to where I was. I don't want to have a setback and
Yeah.
and can't
Yeah.
run at all. So that's another key piece, that you do what you need to do to heal, to make sure you're healing properly. But I'm
Yeah.
super excited about running again. What are some of your goals, your fitness goals for 2025? For me, well, not 2025, 2026. I will be 50. I do want to run a marathon. But what are your
Have you run a marathon yet?
I've never run a full marathon.
Okay, what an experience. I wish that for you. So for 2026, that's on the calendar.
Mhm.
You're running your first marathon.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely an experience.
And I
Um,
did tell Coach Leslie that too. I was like, I want to run a marathon for my 50th, when
yes,
she
and
ran hers a little while ago.
and Coach Leslie, she'll get up and run a marathon for fun.
I
Like
know, I know. I'll be glad when I get to that point. I'll run about 5, 6 miles for fun, not 26 miles for fun.
how about it? But for 2025, I want to do another competition. So
Awesome.
I did walk away with 4 medals. I placed in each of my divisions, yes, but none of them was first. I
Well,
got second, third, and fifth, to be quite honest. But I want that gold. I want that
we
gold.
are going to be looking for you in first place in 2025. I know it's going to happen. I know it.
Thank
Um, Talking about running and fitness, just weightlifting and all of that, do you fuel different? What you eat, is it different for when you're running and when you're weightlifting?
Yeah. So interesting, right? Because runners, they need that. I'm a long distance runner, so we need that fuel, that like the carb loading.
Hmm.
So that it was good for me and the way I ate. Whereas I was consuming a lot of the vegetables, fruit in my smoothies. I would put in maybe like a lot of kale. Like 3/4 of my big container was of kale, and then I throw in maybe a half a banana and some blueberries. But that's it hardly any protein in that unless I intentionally put protein. My protein for that particular smoothie would be some flax seeds, chia seeds, etc. But that would sustain my runs. And I ran 2 half marathons after a fasted state, and I broke my fast with 2 bananas and an apple, and I was able to run a half marathon and finish. Okay, now let's just go eat and fuel my body. I'm not saying that that's a recipe for everybody to do, but it worked for me. It
I'm
literally worked.
speechless
I,
because you
I
said
would,
you ran after a fasted state.
right. So I fasted about 14 hours the previous night, and maybe 2 hours before the race started, I had 2 bananas and an apple.
And you all, that's not my story. I cannot run in a fasted state at all. I'm gonna poop out. I am the opposite. I burn my fuel fast, so I need a lot of fuel. And
Mm.
and sometimes I might even have like the rest of my protein shake, which is usually bananas, flaxseed, spinach or kale, something green in there, halfway through my run, because I do burn up the stuff so fast. But that's amazing, Carmel.
Yeah, and I surprised myself. The first time I did it, I'm like, was that smart? I was like thinking to myself, is this a smart thing to do? Like, I might suffer. I didn't suffer. I didn't even use any gels. I was just kind of
Wow.
like, I was like, oh my God, did that really just happen? I surprised myself. And then I did it again. And that time, sorry, that time I ate too close to the start time of the race, and
Mhm.
the food kind of sat in my chest. And
Okay.
that's why I don't like to eat before a run, because the food just sits in my chest. And one time I had a beet smoothie, mostly beets for the energy that the beets
Mhm.
provide, and that didn't sit well within me either. So I was
Okay.
like, listen, I that my first bout is the way I'm going to go. The 2 bananas and an apple, that's going to be the way it goes for me. But to answer your question, yes. So fueling for building muscle is a lot different. I was eating a lot more protein, the tofu, the tempeh, the beans, the lentils, the quinoa, the broccoli and Brussels sprouts are pretty high in protein, come to
Mhm.
think of it.
Mhm.
And I was consuming all of those foods several times a day, really concentrating on getting my protein up. More protein, more protein, more protein. And interestingly enough, my energy became even better for the run because plant protein comes with carbohydrates.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's funny that you started talking about the different sources of protein. I want to do like a rapid fire round. And so if you had the choice, are you going to choose Brussels sprouts or artichokes?
Brussels sprouts.
Tofu or tempeh?
Tofu.
Pro soy, anti soy?
Pro. I'm such a soy girl.
Me too. Blueberries or raspberries?
Blueberries.
Chia seeds or flax seeds?
Oh, that's hard. That's so hard. Chia.
It's hard for because they're both so good. And they can be used in multiple ways.
Exactly. And that's what I think. I'm like,
Hot oatmeal or overnight oats?
I'm not an oatmeal girl,
Not
but
an oatmeal girl.
I'm not an oatmeal girl. But if I had to choose overnight oats with some fruit.
Our fearless leader, Lisa A. Smith, thinks oatmeal is a scam as well. I love oatmeal. I absolutely love oatmeal. It can be hot oatmeal or overnight oats. I frequently prep overnight oats. It's super easy to give me that energy for my early morning workouts. Avocado or peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
And we don't mean just peanut butter. We mean peanut butter. Only ingredient.
One ingredient.
Peanuts. That's it.
One ingredient, peanut butter. But ask me ask me if I prefer peanut butter to almond butter.
Which one?
Almond butter.
Really?
Because it has more nutrients.
Well, yeah. I like the taste better.
The peanut butter taste is to die for. Yeah. Addiction level, right? But the almond butter is freaking still good to me.
Mushroom or beans?
For different reasons.
All right, we're gonna get off the food. All of those things that Carmel just talked about and I just named, those are all awesome sources of carbs, protein, all good nutrients. We didn't name anything that you should not be eating unless you have a true allergy to it. If you are thinking about going whole food plant-based, you're testing the waters, those are some things that we recommend that you try or just simply add to your plate if you're not going whole food plant-based.
And the fire, everything you mentioned, I have in my cabinet and my refrigerators behind me. Everything.
Exactly. Those are regular staples.
Yeah.
In the homes and kitchens of individuals who eat plants every darn day.
Yes. Oh, I have one for you.
What?
Kale or spinach?
Oh, that one's hard. Kale.
Okay, now I have another one. Kale or collards?
Collards.
I love it. It was so good.
Collards. I love collards. I frequently, so many of you who are watching or a part of the Living Truth family, you know that I am a plant-based chef. I have my own garden. I grow a lot of my own food here. I'm in Michigan, so I don't get to grow constantly. I do ask everybody for those grow towers. I want to put a bunch of those in here, so that I can grow constantly. So I do grow my own kale, my own collards, my own spinach, and all of that. And usually I just take it and cut it up and freeze it. So those are both things you can grow all year long or buy. Wash them, clean them, cut them up, put them in the freezer, and they're just as good.
Yes.
I do it fresh. I cut, wash, and put it in the freezer fresh. So they're fresh frozen. Few more rapid fire questions, and then I am gonna let you go. I feel like we could talk forever, but I know we don't have the time. Are you an early riser or a late riser?
Early. The earlier the better.
The earlier the better. I'm a 4 a.m.er. Sometimes I'm a 3 a.m.er. And even if
that's the way I prefer it. Anything later than that, the day is gone.
Absolutely gone. Absolutely gone. Where does it go, Carmel? Where does it go? Dancing or singing?
Dancing. Dancing. You don't want to hear me sing.
Sing anyway.
Let's take the tush a little bit.
Tell what would you like to leave the audience with today? And then once you answer that question, I want you to let us know where we can find you.
Okay, yes. There's one thing that I repeat quite often. Take care of your body and your body will take care of you. Your body wants you well. Everything that we feel, every symptom that we feel, it's your body lovingly telling you something is wrong and calling out to you for help. And every time you ignore it or you mask the symptom with an aspirin or some kind of a pain reliever, you're not listening to the needs of your body. You're just selfishly and sometimes unknowingly
Mhm.
just masking the symptom and saying, go away now because I don't have time for you. Your body wants you well. Take care of your body inside and out. And we spoke about the kale at the end of our forks, and we spoke about the squats that we do. But taking care of our body also means noticing, acknowledging our stress levels, making sure that we're around people that we love, that we commune with people that we love, and we're not around toxic relationships. It also means doing the things that we love, going out in nature, literally taking our shoes off and putting our bare feet to the ground and hugging a tree. So those are the things that we mean when I say, take care of your body.
I absolutely love that. And I'm back on my soapbox because I am a healthcare provider. Take Taking all of the medications that you are prescribed are truly just masking what's happening. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and our bodies do speak to us, and it tells us everything that we need. When you feel a pain in your knees that or in your wrist, generally that's joint pain, that's inflammation. You might even just need some water.
Right.
Drink some water. Your body will tell you everything that you need. As women, when our hair is breaking and falling out, it's a symptom of dehydration. Drink some water, nurture yourself. Carmel, I love what you just said. Where can we find you? Where can the people get in touch with you and follow you?
Well, I'm right here on YouTube under C Fit Coaching. But if you put my name in, Carmel Jean Francois, I know that's a mouthful, you'll find me there too. But under C Fit Coaching, you'll find me on YouTube. And I'm actually, Nafaya, I'm on my way to getting 1,000 subscribers, and I can't stop talking about
Yay!
it. So I would appreciate a subscribe. And also on Instagram, CFit Coaching. You can find me on Facebook, CFit Coaching, or my name, because I have the personal account, whatever. I just let everybody in. TikTok is also CFit Coaching, and also what's the other one? LinkedIn, CFit Coaching. So yeah, so you could find me everywhere there, and my information is plastered on all of those social media accounts. So it's not hard to reach
Awesome.
me.
Awesome, awesome. You all go and find Carmel at CFit Coaching. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow. Thank you, Carmel, so much for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate you. This was so good. So
So
good.
good. So good.
And I just really hope that this conversation helped encourage somebody, especially those who are between 45 and 50 and who are thinking they're too old, they're overweight, they shouldn't do that. I know that you encourage somebody today to say, I can do it. And
Yes.
just know you can do it.
You can, even if you start at home, because my whole training, Nafaya, I did it at home. I did not have a gym membership. So I just wanted to say that.
You can do it. Well, thank you again, Carmel. Good luck with everything. Let's hold each other accountable for our goals.
Yes.
our
For,
fitness goals and business goals.
for sure. For sure. Thank you so much. It's so much fun talking to you. And I
You
love that I can speak my truth to your audience. So thank you for that.
you thank you. You have a wonderful night. You all, thank you for tuning in to the Living Truth podcast. I hope that you took something away from this podcast today, and it was a wonderful experience. If you have any questions about whole food plant-based nutrition, if you are a pre-diabetic and want help with reversing that disease, if you have questions about fitness and nutrition, reach out to us here at Living Truth. You can find us at living.truth on Instagram, here on YouTube, Living Truth on Facebook. uh, all your social media platforms, and we will be willing to help you. Everybody, enjoy your night. Thank you. Peace.